Look around at this land. What do you think you see?
Hello everyone, welcome to Huntcraft. It seems inevitable to make a beginner's guide for Hunt. I'm hoping this one is as thorough and as complete as can be. If you're new to the game or thinking of trying it, I hope you find this helpful. So welcome to Hunt Showdown 1896. In this video, my goal is to break down all the different parts of the game as clearly as possible and walk you through them in an order that feels logical and hopefully easy to follow, so you can really get a good grasp on everything. What I'll try to do is build from the ground up. I'll explain the overall basics of the game, and as the guide goes along, I'll dive into more specific systems. That way, if you're new, you don't have to watch the whole guide in one go. You can take the basics and get started with it, and then you can come back later to watch the rest of the parts when you run into a system you want to understand more about. Hopefully I've covered it. And obviously, if you find this video helpful, please remember that likes and subs to a YouTuber are like Mjolnir and Stormbreaker to Thor. So hammer those buttons for me. Alright, let's go.
Breathe deep. Take your fill. Welcome to Mammon's Gulch. Welcome to 1896.
What is Hunt Showdown 1896? Well, according to the makers, it's a competitive first-person PvP bounty hunting game with heavy PvE elements. From the makers of Crysis, set in the darkest corner of the world, it packs the thrill of survival games into match-based format. In short, it's an extraction shooter. For many people, the most obvious thing that will come to mind will be Tarkov, and depending on your level of trauma, that might put you off. But they're only similar in the broadest perspective. Hunt does not have any extensive storage management or stashes to sort or NPCs to interact with. The only thing you do between games is getting a hunter, getting a loadout, and jumping in. Hunt also doesn't have any scavs or anything like that in-game. There are no bots in this game, well, except players like me. It also doesn't have any modern weapons. The game's theme is from that era, 1896, so weapons are all classic, old, slow-firing rifles, revolvers, or shotguns. The game takes place in the Louisiana Bayou, and recently we've had a new map in Colorado. PvE enemies in the game are different types of undead or zombies, and we have 4 maps in total, and you don't get to choose which map you play. You get a random map every game. Hunt is also an audiophile's dream. Without a doubt, the most unique aspect about Hunt is the sound quality and design. So before even starting a guide, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. If each game has a core mechanic, sound is the core mechanic in Hunt. Everything in the game relies on sound. Most of your reactions are to sound. Most of your decisions you will make thinking, can I afford to make this sound? Or how should I deal with this sound alert? Or how can I manipulate sound to trick my enemies? Both the ambient noise and your ability to read your surroundings so clearly just by listening is top-notch in this game. It uses binaural sound technology, which isn't simple stereo, but a much detailed type of recordings that allows you to hear things in the game like you would in real life. You easily sense the distance a sound is coming from, or for example, footsteps if they're above you or below you, left or right. And if you don't believe me, here's the testimony of someone who knows a thing or two about sound.
But it's so awesome, and once you nail it, you feel so good because you're walking around the woods and you're like, wait, you know you hear dudes.
Yeah.
And you know where they are.
Now, obviously, audio is super important.
And you did such an incredible job on the, like, I don't know if it's spatial audio, but where stuff is, it's pretty awesome. And you can even hear, and opposed to other games, you can hear people ADSing.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I hear him outside the wall. It's a wooden wall. I hear him right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blast him. I'm gonna blast him. And then you get it and you're like, yes, this is the best feeling.
He meant something like this. And you might say many games use directional audio, but the unique thing about this type of sound is the way it's recorded. not just the way it's played in one ear and not the other.
Binaural recording is a method of capturing sound by positioning two microphones in such a way that they hear the sound in the same way that a person would. For this, we use a microphone that replicates a human head.
That type of technology is surprisingly rarely used actually. If you've ever played Hellblade, that's how they designed the sound in their game, as the main character was suffering from mental health issues and the whole game is about voices in her head.
When audio is recorded binaurally, it gives the listener a 3D sound experience, allowing them to place the sounds in the space around them. And what you're listening to now is binaural audio, so it should sound as if I am directly in front of you. If I move over here, it should sound like I'm in your left ear, and it should now sound like I'm whispering in your left ear. And if I move over here, it should sound like I'm in your right ear, whispering weirdly in your right ear. And as I talk and move around, you should be able to place me in the space around you, even behind your head.
And it's a shame that massive AAA games don't care to make their games sound this good. If you've ever played something like Warzone, you would know.
There's no fucking audio in this game! This fucking game's terrible! It's for 80-year-old men who can't hear!
There's lots to say about sound in Hunt. Let's just say it's amazing and you have to try it for yourself. And it's not a simple quality of life, it's something you definitely rely on in your gameplay. You cannot play this game without headphones. Even if you're on console, get headphones. Playing Hunt without headphones is like playing without a screen. Alright, let's check the basic in-game loop first. Each game has 12 players, that's 4 teams of trios, or 6 teams of duos. You buy a hunter, buy a loadout, pick your traits, and start a game. Players spawn at edges of the map at random locations, and everyone's goal is bounty hunting, which is a PvE objective. You want to find the boss lair?
Just get the clue and let's move out.
By collecting clues like this guy's doing.
Got it.
Once you do, you want to hit the boss lair and kill the boss.
Okay, we're here.
Let's cook up that bird nice and proper, shall we?
After you.
Funny enough, you shouldn't be really wasting ammo on bosses, and this one in particular, it's not a good idea to burn him. These guys suck. They should watch some YouTube guides.
Banish that thing. Let's get the bounty out of here.
I'll do the honors.
Now that the boss is dead, you want to banish its evil soul, which will trigger a vortex in the sky, visible to everyone all around the map. So right now you have to wait for the banishment and defend your compound. This turns into a siege situation for the duration of the banishment.
What next?
This is the time to put some traps and block off entrances to your compound,
Now, we see who's hunting who.
because essentially all the players on the map are coming. And no, I don't mean that, you perverts. Once the banishment ends, the boss will drop 2 bounty tokens. You take that and you extract. The bounty token isn't an item you interact with or see in your inventory. It's more like a state that you can identify with UI elements. If your team dies or the time runs out, then you lose the hunter and all the items in your loadout. And if you successfully extract, you win. You will earn money, XP for your hunter, and bloodline rank. I will explain all those things in details later. Now, given the name, all teams in the game are bounty hunting.
We are not alone. Doesn't matter. Just stick to...
You got one.
You were saying?
So we will have to fight for the bounty, and that's the showdown. Get it? Now back to the boss that we just saw. This was Scrapbeak. He is one of 4 main bosses in the game. The second one is the assassin. And the third one is the spider. And the fourth one, and the oldest, is the butcher. We also have 2 newer, smaller types of bosses. They're called roaming bosses. But they don't really roam, they just spawn outdoors. One of them is Rotjaw, which is a crocodile, and she only spawns in bodies of water. You cannot find her with normal clues, but instead you find her by activating those clues. Once you do, the goo will point in the direction where she's at, which means you can open your map and you should find her in any of the bodies of water in that direction, basically. She used to drop 1 token, but now she actually drops 2 bounty tokens. The other roaming boss is called Hellborn, and he currently only spawns in the new Colorado map called Mammon's Gulch. He's a big fiery dude, and you don't need any clues to find him. You just need to listen to his growl, like this. And keep going in that direction. He's unique in the sense that he requires no banishment. As soon as you kill him, he will instantly drop 1 bounty token and 1 random trait. I don't want to bloat this video with boss guides, and I think there's enough content made about each boss already. Now that's the basics of the gameplay loop, and let's say the core info that you need. Next, let's talk about the UI and quickly navigate through its key elements. The UI was recently redesigned along with the biggest update the game has ever had. Unfortunately, the UI has a bunch of issues at the moment in terms of ease of navigation and bugginess in general, but the devs have acknowledged those issues and already implemented some improvements, with more to come. So in the future, if you're seeing this, the UI will have hopefully improved and is easier to navigate, but might look a little bit different. Now let's see. As I mentioned, you want to buy a hunter and a loadout. So let's look at those. You go here and you have 2 options, all hunters and free hunters. The free hunters are 4, and that refreshes after every game. So you can hire 4 hunters for free, and they come with a basic loadout and a random trait. You can also see their gear has a red skull in the background. That means it's a contraband item. Contraband items cannot be sold, so you can either use them or discard them. And you can only own a maximum of 2 contraband duplicates of any item. Back to all hunters, this will show you a list of the hunters that you own, whether you got them from any type of reward or bought them from the shop. They're color-coded in the standard rarity that everyone's familiar with, and that means nothing more than visual complexity. They will all cost $100 hunt to hire. They come with no loadout, but they come with more traits than the free hunters, and some trait points on top to meet a total minimum budget of traits. Now the next thing I mentioned that you need is a loadout. So if you pick a hunter you recruited, you can equip them with whatever items that are available to you. And you can see here you can save loadouts, so you have a 1-click preset that can quickly equip your hunter with your favorite loadout. You can carry 2 weapons, 4 tools, and 4 consumables. While we're at it, let's explain what those are. Weapons in this game come in 3 sizes, small, medium and large, denoted by these little squares. Your loadout can be a maximum of 4 squares basically. That means a large weapon and a small weapon, or 2 medium weapons. If we click on this slot here, we can see our weapon selection. We can filter weapons by size, so for example, if I click this, I will see only small size weapons, which are typically pistols. If I click this, I will filter by large size weapons, which are typically big boy shotguns or rifles. And the medium size are usually just that, bigger pistols or smaller rifles and shotguns. Every weapon comes with default ammo, which we call normal ammo, and each weapon has a set of special ammo available to it, which you can get to from here. Special ammo serves multiple purposes: bullets that can cause enemies to bleed, or burn, or be poisoned, or travel faster, or penetrate surfaces, etc. I'll explain a bit more about special ammo later when we get into a game. Ammo types are also visible here in the filters. Weapons in the game use different sizes of ammo. They go from compact to medium to long ammo, and those are shotgun shells. The general idea is the bigger the bullet, the more damage it does, and the better surface penetration it has. Once you pick your loadout weapons, it's time to pick your tools. Tools serve multiple functions, and you pick them based on your playstyle and in a way to also complement your weapon choices. They can be knives, flare guns, dusters or traps, and some tend to be mostly used to deal with zombies and general AI in the game. The core tool everyone needs to have is obviously your first aid kit. This is how you heal in the game, and most tools come with a number of charges. For example, the first aid kit lets you use it 3 times. The throwing knives come in a set of 6, and you can also retrieve them after you throw them. But even if you deplete your tools during a game, as long as you survive and extract, you don't lose them or need to buy them again. They essentially recharge. The last part of your loadout is consumables. Those are consumables. So obviously, when you use them, you have to resupply them. Those are your typical offensive items like throwable dynamites or frags, and also expensive healing shots that are quicker than the first aid kit and can also heal you for more. They're better used when you're in a pinch and you're desperate for a quick heal. Now if we go back to hunters, you can see that this number is the number of slots that you can have for your hunters. That's the maximum you can own at once, and you can earn more slots in some random in-game rewards or buy them with a premium currency. If we click on Show Grid, you can see them better, and in this overview you can see a hunter's level and the amount of trait points they got. And that's a good segue to talk about traits. Traits are what you would call perks or talents. You gain them as your hunter levels up, or as we saw earlier when you recruit a new hunter. They complement your abilities and weapons sometimes, either to give you some convenience or to help you improve a certain aspect of play against both AI and players. This trait, for example, helps you use the first aid kit faster, and this one helps you restore double the health you would when using it. This trait, for example, helps you use certain weapons in a different way. Without it, this gun's hipfire will shoot like this. With it, it would shoot like this. Similarly, this trait too, for small pistols. Without it, this pistol's hipfire would shoot like this. But with it, it would shoot like that. This one too will allow you to increase the size of your loadout. Remember when I said you can have a maximum of 4 squares? This basically makes it 5, which means you can equip 1 large and 1 medium weapon. There's obviously a ton of traits, so I can't go through them all, but they are a significant improvement to your play for sure. One more thing to note, you can remove traits to get your points refunded, but the refund will be -1 of the cost. Except for traits that cost 1 point, they will give you that point back. Traits, tools, and consumables unlock as you go along leveling up your rank, as you can see here, which is effectively your level, not your hunter's. That's the account, or as the game calls it, your bloodline. Once you hit 64, you will have everything unlocked. Then you can go all the way to 100 with only hunt dollars as rewards. And then you can hit the prestige button to hit a new prestige level, which then leads us to talk about prestige. Prestige is a form of long-term grind type of progression that will reward you along the long journey to prestige 100 with some skins and hunters. There's no form of advantage in this game, there's no pay to win, all you will ever earn is cosmetics, whether it's via the prestige system or the cash shop. As you can see here, every time you hit that button, you gain a new badge displayed next to your name. You will have the choice of either 2,000 hunt dollars or 10% XP bonus to your mission XP gain, which is only the XP you gain when you extract with a bounty in hand. And at some milestones, you will also get a new hunter or a new skin, similar to what you can buy from the cash shop. Once you own them, you can reuse them freely. For hunters, you can recruit them for 100 hunt dollars, as we saw earlier, and for weapons or tools or consumables, you can just equip the skin when you set up your loadout. Now remember, this is very important. The moment you hit that prestige button, you lose everything. All the guns, tools, consumables you have, all the hunters you own, the hunt dollars are lost. You only get 8,000 hunt dollars to start with, and your rank resets back to 1. Here I'm at rank 100. I've got 30k dollars. I've got 30 hunters. And I have everything unlocked. I go to prestige, hit that button, get a badge and my hunter as a reward. And now you can see my money is reset to 8k. I have 0 hunters except that one I just earned. All my traits are locked. Tools, consumables, and all the weapon variants. This means you will have to unlock tools, consumables, traits, and weapon variants all over again. That's the tedious part of it, so do this at your own risk. If you need an in-depth guide on prestige, I've got one here in this link above. One other aspect of your hunter is your health bars. All player hunters have 150 health, and as you can see, they come in chunks like this. You can also edit those chunks like this. So the big bars are 50 health, and the small ones are 25. And they cost trade points, which are fully refundable upon editing. I'll discuss later the implication of those bars and why you would choose what size. Are you keeping up? We're nearly there. Let's finish off the rest of the UI elements before we jump into action. Up here you can see your party, and then on the left here you can see your prestige level, rank, hunt dollars, and blood bonds. We've discussed all those except blood bonds, which are basically the premium real money currency. You can buy those with real money, and you can spend them in the store to buy hunters or item skins. Now let's quickly look at the store. You can buy equipment skins, hunters, charms, or bundles, and a battle pass if there's one active. All of those are things you can buy with blood bonds. The only exception is DLCs, which is a fancy term for a collection of skins and hunters. Those can only be bought directly with money from the Steam store. And if you're browsing through skins or hunters, you can see this marker here, which tells you that this hunter is part of a DLC. And it can take you to the DLC when you click here. There's usually good discounts most of the time, so you can always buy some skin for a weapon that you like and know you'll be using often. There's also many ways to earn those blood bonds without spending any money, just by playing the game. And if there's an event, aka a battle pass season, there's also blood bond rewards in there too. Those events tend to last for a couple of months. You can also gain some blood bonds during your prestige journey. In the home button, we can see a few sections here. Last mission is detailed stats for your last mission that you played. We'll come back to that one later. And progression. This is a list of all types of progressions like bloodline progression that we just looked at, and weapon unlock progression. Let me explain that one too. When you start for the first time, or when you prestige and go back to rank 1, you do have all base weapons available to you, but you need to use them and earn XP with them to unlock variants of those guns. And you earn gun XP, obviously, by killing zombies or players with the specific gun. Here, for example, I have the base weapon, which is the Sparks rifle. If I earn 900 XP with it, I'll be able to unlock the Sparks pistol. And then 900 more with either of them, I'll be able to unlock the Sparks silencer. and then the Spark Sniper comes along with the silencer. One more thing here in progression is weekly challenges. Those are activities in-game that will reward you with some Battle Pass points and Blood Bonds too. One last thing to note in the progression menu is Dark Tribute. This is simply a bunch of random goodies that reset daily, and they come at a different daily XP milestone. Basically, if you get 8k XP a day, you get 4 random rewards. Those can be anything from skins to hunters to trait points to some hunt dollars or even hunter slots. Alright, I hope this all makes sense up until this point, so I'll finish this part here. This was the biggest info dump. The next 2 parts of the guide will have gameplay, where we apply all the knowledge we now have, plus a lot more information still to come. I will upload the next 2 parts very soon, so in a week or so, if you find this guide, you can have all 3 queued up to watch at your own pace. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified when I upload the following parts. See you in the next one.